All right, you guys, let's go ahead and get started. So let's have a seat. Just kind of check in with our bodies this afternoon. Find that nice straight aligned spine. Lift up through your chest. Relax your shoulders. Relax your jaw. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath in. And a big exhale through the mouth. Take a moment to really feel into your entire body, every part. And let's breathe in a little deeper and slower. So Ujjayi breathing if you can. Check in with your thoughts, your feelings, your energy, and particularly how connected you feel today. And then let's bring our palms together in front of our hearts and take a moment to set our personal intention for practice today. Once you're clear on your intention, take an extra deep breath in. And exhale. Good. So we're going to go ahead and come on up to standing. What we're going to be working with today are the extremities, hands and feet, but also lower legs, so calves and forearms, wrists and ankles, kind of everything that we normally don't work with. We're usually focused on the larger muscle groups, the torso, the hips, etc. Sometimes it's nice to send a little bit of love to the outer edges. So that's kind of what we're working with today. And I'm going to have you start by just lifting all of your toes, spreading them out, planting them down, and lifting the heels and planting them down. So you just come into this nice, solid Tadasana. And as we've done many times before, we're just going to do a quick little toe roll. So I want you to kind of roll back and forth over your toes, being mindful. If you've ever broken a toe or if you have pins in your toes, you have to be extremely careful here. So if there's hardware in there, be very mindful of that. Otherwise, making sure you kind of roll in different directions. So the little toe side as well as the big toe side. And then just shift into your other foot. Doesn't matter which side you started on. Make sure you're rolling over all the toes, that at some point they all get a little bit of love. Good, and then just pause and again, lift all your toes up, spread them, plant them, lift the heels and plant them. So now what we're gonna do is shift our weight to our left foot. You wanna come to the top of your right foot behind you. And it's fine if you need to hang on to something here. So it's like you're pointing your right foot and putting it on the ground. You want to keep your toes relaxed. Don't try and curl them or anything. You're just going to act like you're pulling your right leg forward. What you're basically doing is stretching out the top of your right foot and then extend your right leg in front of you and very strongly dorsiflex your ankle and your toes, which means everything's coming back towards the shin. And then you act like you're going to pull your right heel towards you, but you don't really. So what you should have felt when your foot was behind you is your shin was stretching and now the calf is stretching. So put right leg back and then let's do the same thing with the left. So you're going to point your toes and then put the top of the foot on the floor behind you. Relax your foot, gently pull the leg forward. So you should feel this all up the front of your shin and on the top of the foot. This is a good thing to do, by the way. And then extend your left leg in front of you very strongly. Flex ankle and toes. Act like you're pulling the leg back towards you. You should feel a good calf stretch. And then let's go ahead and find our mountain pose. So again, the toes are spread, the heels are planted. We just want to feel really straight and aligned. And then inhale and reach the arms up. I want you to interlace your fingers. Press your palms up and just stretch for a moment. And then as you exhale, bend your knees, fold forward, and hang in your ragdoll. Now, while you're hanging in your ragdoll with your knees bent, you should feel your pelvis is tilting forward. We're gonna kind of keep it like that. Go ahead and bring your fingertips to the ground. Only as much as you can. You're gonna keep your left knee bent. Only as much as you can. You're gonna start pressing the right leg straight. It may not go straight, that's okay. You'll feel this pretty intently in your right hamstring as well as the right calf, and then bend your right knee again. Now begin to straighten the left leg. Either with both knees bent or both legs straight, your choice. Look up and lengthen, and then back down. So we're gonna step back with our left foot. Just hold your lunge for a moment. Go ahead and drop your left knee down. Untuck the toes of your left foot. And just with the hands on the ground, let your hips shift a little bit forward. Again, be very mindful of knee and ankle and hand issues, but as much as you can, do what you can. With hands on the ground to support some of your weight, see if for just a second you can kind of lift the left knee up, but you're pulling forward. Again, stretching the top of the foot and the front of the shin. Put your left knee back down. Let's raise the arms up and overhead. Tilt the pelvis back and let the hips move forward. Bring your hands down on either side of your right foot. Extend your right leg. Flex the ankle and toes very strongly. If you can, and this is optional, if you can reach your right foot with your right hand, you might even want to help it flex and get that little bit of extra calf stretch. So if you keep pushing through the back of your right knee and really kind of pull on the ball of the right foot, you should get a lot of stretch in the calf as well as the hamstring. From here, we'll bend the right knee, bring it back to meet the left knee, give yourself a little tail wag for a moment, and then take a child's pose. From child's pose, we're going to scoot forward into Sphinx, lengthen out the spine. And then downward facing dog. Now, in your down dog, really spread your fingers and flatten out the palms of the hands as much as you can. And then push through your hands so that your hips reach way up and back. And then very strongly press your heels down. Now keep pushing your right heel down, but bend your left knee. Keep pushing with your hands as well. You're gonna feel your right calf again. Straighten your left leg, bend your right knee, push that left heel into the mat, press with your hands, you're gonna feel your left calf. Straighten both legs and step your left foot forward. Hold it for a moment. And then we're going to drop the right knee down, untuck your toes. So you're on the top of the right foot. We're going to keep the hands on the mat to begin with. Let your hips move forward. Keep some weight on the hands if you feel like you can. Lift that right knee just a little bit, but you're letting the hips sink. You should feel a deeper stretch on the front of your right shin. Go ahead and put the right knee back down. Let's take the arms up and overhead. Tilt your pelvis back, hips move forward. And then from here, hands come down. We extend the left leg and flex the ankle and toes. And so just like on the other side, if you can reach your left foot with your left hand, optional, is to actually help pull a little bit of extra dorsiflexion into the foot. So you want to try and press through the back of the left knee and kind of gently pull on the ball of the left foot so that you can feel it in your left calf as well as your hamstring. From here, step forward to a standing forward bend. Inhale, reach the arms all the way up and overhead. As you exhale, palms together in front of the heart. Keep your palms pressing together and just keep pressing down. So as you start to get lower, you're gonna feel this on the underside of your wrist, underside of the forearms, palms of the hands. Now, while your hands are still down, flip them, put the backs of the hands together, down by your abdomen. Try and keep the backs of the hands together as you bring them back up. Now you're gonna start feeling a stretch on the top side of your forearm, top side of your wrist, back of the hand. Interlace your fingers, wrist rolls. Just kind of roll them, roll them, roll them, go both directions. Good, and then make tight fists, and then spread your fingers, just hands, tight fists, spread your fingers, and then just shake, 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 shake. Good. So from here, we're gonna go a little bit deeper with what we've just done. And the reason I'm giving you advance warning is that if you need to modify, just do what we just did. So let's inhale, reach the arms up, and then as you exhale, fold forward, look up halfway, and then back down. You're gonna step back with your left leg again. We'll just kind of keep going with the right foot forward. Drop to your left knee and untuck the toes. Now, if you need to modify, remember we kept hands down and lifted the left knee. For those of you who can, you're gonna take your arms up and overhead. Let your hips move forward, and if you can, for just a breath, lift that left knee up, but let the hips sink, and you're kind of pulling a little bit with your right heel to get more stretch on the front of the left shin, and then drop it down. If balance is an issue, hands on the ground, but if you can, fully extend your right leg, strongly dorsiflex the foot, lean out, and maybe get both of your hands on your foot to help pull. So we do this because we're loading a little more body weight, but if you feel precarious, please put your hands on the ground. Take a couple of breaths, getting a little extra calf stretch along with your hamstring stretch on this right leg. And then release and take your right knee back to meet your left knee. Give yourself a tail wag. So if you do full vinyasas, go ahead and do a vinyasa, but you might want to play with rolling over the toes. For those of you doing the easier flow with me, we'll only be rolling one way, which will be into down dog. If you're doing full vinyasas, you can actually roll into up dog as well as down dog. So if you're with me, take a child's pose. And then we're going to scoot onto our stomachs and prepare for cobra. So you want your hands kind of more underneath your shoulders. Baby cobra, if that's better for your back, you can lift up a little higher if you like. Now, here's where maybe the toe roll comes in. It's purely optional, but you might want to try it. From here, we come to the knees, but then we lift the knees and roll up and over the toes to downward facing dog. Again, if you've had broken toes or if you have pins, you don't want to do that. So once you're in this down dog, palms are flat, fingers are spread. Now in this downward facing dog, I'd like you to just pick your left foot up off the ground and literally step on your right heel. You're going to push with your hands and press down with your left heel. So you're going to feel this in the right calf. Maybe even lift the toes of the right foot. Left foot goes back on the mat. Right foot steps on the left heel. You push through your hands. You push with that right foot. Maybe even lifting the toes of the left foot. Right foot back down. And then take a big step forward with your left foot. Drop your right knee down and untuck the foot so you're on the top of the toes. Remember, modification is you keep your hands on the ground and lift the right knee. That's fine. Otherwise, we're going to bring the arms up and overhead. Tilt the pelvis, move the hips forward, and then for a breath, lift the right knee, but slightly sink the hips and kind of pull with that left foot, really stretching out front of the right shin, put it back down. If you can, fully extend left leg, flex the ankle and toes. Maybe get both of your hands to your left foot. Please put a hand down if you need to stabilize. Pull a little bit of extra dorsiflexion into your left foot. And then we're going to step forward to our standing forward bend. Inhale, reach the arms all the way up and overhead. As you exhale, palms together in front of the heart. So we're going to turn sideways on the mat. Take a relatively wide step and make sure that your feet are pointing directly forward. We do this stance a lot, but we don't usually pay enough attention to our feet. So if you were just kind of lazy and hanging out here, which I know you're not, the inner ankle would kind of collapse and the outer ankle would overstretch. We want to get this just right. So we're pushing through the big toe side and the little toe side of the foot. We want the foot to feel equally stable on both sides. That way the ankle doesn't collapse. Hinge at your hips, hands to the mat or fingertips to the mat. And then what I want you to do is take your hands one little step over to the right and bend your right knee. Now what we're trying to do here is actually push through the little toe side of the foot now for a moment on that left leg to see if we can get sensation in the outer calf. This is actually peroneal muscles. Take one more breath here and then straighten your right leg and start walking your hands over towards your left foot. Bend your left knee, strongly push through the baby toe side of your right foot. See if you can get some stretch in that right outer calf. Peroneal muscles on the right. And then straighten your legs. If you need to walk your hands up your thighs, do that. Otherwise, just come on up to standing, keeping your stance wide. So all of this grounding through the feet is really important when we come into our warrior poses because of the angle of the back foot, right? So I want you to kind of practice that now. We're going to take the left foot and angle it in towards the midline of the body. That left leg is straight and you're keeping equal pressure on little toe and big toe side of the foot. So maybe you're feeling it in that left outer calf. Rotate your right foot out, bend your right knee. Let's find warrior two. Really focus on pushing through the little toe side of your left foot. Now I'm going to ask you to do something really odd. I want you to lift all of your toes, both feet. Feel how active your arches get. Go ahead and plant the toes back down and then straighten your right leg, relax your arms. Just notice if you're feeling the outside edge of your left calf, you should be. So let's go ahead and rotate the right foot in towards the midline now. Rotate your left foot out, parallel. Push through the baby toe side of your right foot as you bend your left knee to find warrior two. Lots of strength and stability in your right leg, lots of pressure on the baby toe side of that right foot. And then lift all 10 toes. That's exciting, isn't it? Take one more breath. Put your toes down. Straighten your legs. Rotate the feet forward again. Toe heel them in a couple of steps so your feet are maybe shoulder width, somewhere around there. We're going to literally slide our hands underneath our feet. So bend your knees a little bit. Slide your hands underneath your feet so that your fingertips are touching the beginning of your heel and the ball of your foot is in the palm of the hand with your toes touching your wrists. Now, if you can, you start to straighten your legs. And if you're fortunate enough for your legs to go straight, then you start to bend the elbows. Slide your hands back out. Take a big inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, palms together in front of the heart. So we're going to come back up to the front of the mat. Inhale, reach your arms up, and as you exhale, fold forward. Inhale, look up halfway. Exhale, back down. Step back onto hands and knees. And let's just give our wrists a little bit of love for a moment. So hands are directly under shoulders, fingers are spread, palms are flat. Keep your arms really straight. What we're going to do is circle the shoulders around the wrists. You'll notice that this is actually affecting your wrists and your forearms. Only go as far as you comfortably can. Change directions. And then it's far more exciting to do this on the backs of the hands. Be gentle if you've had wrist issues. By the way, you may just want to do this on one side. If you can, you're on the backs of the hands. Now, if you've had a wrist injury, you might just be on one. All right, and then the same thing. We're going to circle the shoulders around. If you're like me, it's a much smaller circle. This can be pretty intense on the back of the wrist, top of the forearm. Make sure you're going both directions, and then come on out of that and do a couple more of those wrist rolls. Interlace your fingers, roll your wrists, and then just shake it all out. Good. And then you're going to put your hands relatively close to your knees. Be mindful of knee issues here. Toes should be untucked and touching. As much as you can, you sit your buns back on your heels, and then you lift your knees. So again, we're stretching out the top of the feet. You don't want to try and have any tension in your feet or your shins. You let it relax. Put your knees back down. Spread your palms. Go straight into downward facing dog. Just for giggles in your downward facing dog, really press those hips back. And just see if you can get 10 toes off the mat. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. And then let's walk the feet forward. Big inhale, arms up. Exhale, palms together in front of the heart. So our balance challenge today is actually a 2-footed challenge. Yay. So maybe it'll be easy for you, maybe not. But if you need, it's fine to touch a wall or a piece of furniture if you need to. What we're going to do is bring the big toes to touch. And then I want you to come onto your tiptoes. Now, some people barely lift their heels. That's not what I'm looking for. I want you to really, really lift your heels like as high as you can, like you're wearing 4-inch heels. Push through the big toe side of your foot. Really, really elevate your heels as much as possible. So right now, your calves are really contracted and your shins are definitely stretching. Go ahead and put your heels back down for a moment. You're going to work with your own knee ability, so modify as much as you need to, but one more time, we're going to come up on the tiptoes. Really, really tiptoes. Don't hold back. Lift those heels. If you're hanging on to something, keep hanging on. If you're not, arms are in front of you. You're going to squeeze your knees together. Keep lifting the heels and start trying to come into a half squat. Keep lifting your heels, and then heels down and release. Roll your shoulders back. Good. Palms together. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, look up halfway. Exhale, back down, coming back onto hands and knees. This time we're going to keep our toes turned under. So you're on the bottom side, the pads of the toes. Your big toes are touching. As much as your knees allow, you're going to sit back onto your heels. So that feels one way, right? Which is probably relatively pleasant if you don't have knee issues. Now, we're gonna lift the buns a little, bring the heels to touch as well, and sit back again. That might be considerably more exciting for some of you, certainly is for me. Take one more breath. And then come on out of that. Hands on the mat again. You can kind of just wag your tail. And we're going to go ahead and slide the hands back towards our knees. Keep your palms flat and your fingers spread. Only as much as is okay with your wrists. Start to shift your body forward. What you're basically doing is sharpening the angle between your forearm and the back of the hand. Take one more breath. Good. You're going to sit back. Flip to the back side of your hands. Lean forward a little bit for this one. And then be very mindful. Again, this is usually more intense for most of us. We start to lean back slightly, sharpening the angle between the forearm and the palm of the hand. So you're going to feel this on the back side of your hand, top part of your forearm. Take one more breath. Come on out of that, back onto hands and knees. Give yourself a tail wag. And then those of you doing vinyasas, take one. The rest of us are going to take a child's pose. And then scoot forward into either Sphinx or Cobra. And then if you feel like you can, roll over your toes. If that's not an option, just ignore me. But if you can, it's kind of a nice thing to do. Press those hips up and back. Stretch, stretch, stretch. And then walk your feet forward. Big inhale, arms all the way up. Exhale, palms together in front of your heart. So we're going to come into a yogic squat. And today, woo, free time. I don't care if your feet rotate in or out because we're doing it to stretch the Achilles tendon. So whatever makes you most comfortable, again, modify for knee issues and support your weight. Otherwise, just keep those heels flat and start to squat. So what we're trying to do is really get into this back part of the heel. So your Achilles tendon actually attaches your strong, dense calf muscles. And we don't often think about our lower legs, but they are incredibly strong, dense muscles because that's what we spring off of when we walk. So ambulatory muscles are amazing and we just don't even think about it, right? One more breath here. Inhale all the way back up. And as you exhale, bring your feet together, bring your palms together. Inhale, reach the arms up, interlace your fingers, palms press up, up, up. And then go ahead and just bring them all the way in front of you, pressing straight out. And then keep bringing them all the way down, pressing palms straight down. Release your hands, make some wrist and forearm circles. And then inhale the arms up, and as you exhale, fold all the way forward. So just like we did at the beginning of practice, I want you to just see if anything's changed. Maybe it has, maybe it hasn't. You're in your forward bend, whether your knees are bent or not. You're trying to get your torso to your thighs. We're going to go ahead and bend the left knee and try and press that right leg straight. If you can, lift the toes of the right foot, just the right foot. Right foot back down, right knee bends. Left leg begins to extend. Once you get it as straight as you comfortably can, maybe lift the toes of the left foot. So you should be feeling your left calf along with your left hamstring. Left toes down, left knee can be straight or bent. We're gonna look up and lengthen. And then back down. Stepping back onto hands and knees. Give yourself a nice little tail wag. Final vinyasa for you vinyasa folks. And the rest of us are going to take one last child's pose. One last Sphinx or Cobra. And then a final downward facing dog. Maybe with the toe roll. You get to decide. Spread your palms, flatten them out, spread your fingers, press through your hands, push your heels down. Maybe this time you can get your toes up. And then you can walk your feet forward and have a seat in Dandasana. And this is where we're going to start using our strap. So grab your strap. First, let's just find our sit bones and take a moment and check in. So you want to check on your body, your breath, your mind, your heart, your energy, and your connection. Then we're going to grab our strap, and I want you to loop your feet, but I want you to put it right at the ball of the foot. So not in the arch of the foot, but the ball of the foot. And then just sit up nice and straight like we always do for Dandasana and hang on to your strap. So you are going to be providing your own resistance here. What I want you to do is press the balls of the feet forward. So you're pointing your feet, not necessarily the toes, but for sure the feet. And you're pulling back against it. So you're going to work a little bit. So basically here, your calves are tightening and your shins are releasing. And then we're going to do the opposite. We're going to pull our feet into dorsiflexion. And you do want to flex the toes here. So now the shins are tightening and the calves are stretching. One more time, point your feet. You're providing resistance here. It's like coming up onto your tiptoes, but you don't have to worry about falling over. And then pull on the feet, giving yourself that nice calf stretch. And then release. Put your strap off to the side. We'll use it again in a moment. Keep your right leg straight. Bring your left foot to the inside of your right thigh. And just lean out over your right leg for a moment. If you can reach your right foot with either of your hands, you might consider, like we did earlier in the sun salutations, you might consider pulling a little extra dorsiflexion into the ankle and toes so that you're not only getting a right hamstring stretch, but also right calf. And then come on up from that. We're going to pick the left foot up and bring it on top of the right thigh. So a lot of times I have you do fingers interlaced, etc. But today we're actually going to play with inversion and eversion, or supination and pronation of the foot. Again, mindful of ankle issues. But we've been working a lot with the shin and the calf. But what about the inside and outside of the leg? We did a little outside stuff in our warrior and wide angled forward bend. But here's how you get into those muscles. So if you start pulling the big toe side of your foot towards your shin, be gentle here, and the baby toe side away, kind of like you're trying to make the sole of the foot look at the ceiling, you're going to feel the inside part of your calf tighten and the outside part stretch. So you can do the opposite, push the baby toe side towards your shin and the big toe side towards the floor. Now you're stretching the inner part of the calf and tightening the outer part. In fact, if you take your left hand and feel that outer edge of your left calf, if you're pushing that baby toe side kind of to the left, you're going to feel those muscles, right? So one more time, let's bring big toe side in towards. You'll feel soleus muscles tightening, and then little toe side presses in. Now peroneals are stretching. Good. Go ahead and wiggle your foot back and forth a couple of times. I'm not going to make you stick your fingers in your toes today. Yay. Good. After you've wiggled a little bit, keep your ankle across your thigh. Keep the ankle flexed. And let's go ahead and lean forward one more time over that right leg. So you might feel this in your left hip. You might not. Just take one more breath. And then we're going to come on up. We're going to keep the right leg straight and the right foot dorsiflexed. And I want you to slide your left foot over all the way so it's super flat on the floor. So yet again, we're paying attention to big toe side and little toe side of the foot being very grounded. Left hand behind us. You can either hug your left knee or bring the right elbow outside of it, coming into a nice twist to the left. So once you've got your twist going, pay attention to right ankle and toes being dorsiflexed and left foot feeling equally grounded on big toe side and little toe side of the foot. Rotate back around, extend your left leg out. Let's just wiggle the feet for a moment. And then keep your left leg straight. Bring your right foot to the inside of your left thigh. Lean out over your left leg. Again, if you can reach the left foot with either hand, you might want to help it dorsiflex a little more. Pull the toes a little more towards the shin so that you're feeling a hamstring stretch and a calf stretch on that left leg. Come on up from that. We're going to pick the right foot up and bring it on top of the left thigh. So coming back into that inversion, eversion, or supination and pronation of the foot. First, you're bringing big toe side of the right foot towards the right shin. So in other words, you're pushing your big toe kind of towards the floor, pulling the little toe up towards the ceiling. When you do this, outer edge of the calf is stretching, inner part is contracting. So let's switch. Now you're doing the opposite. You're pushing your big toe side down towards the floor, little toe side up towards the ceiling. Now, outer part of your calf is contracting, inner part is stretching. If you're not sure about that, reach down and feel the outside part of your right calf. It should be very contracted. You should feel some ridges there. Those are your muscles. One more time. Let's go ahead and rotate big toe side in towards the calf as though your foot is, the sole of the foot's going to point up. And then rotate it again to the side as though the sole of the foot is going to point down. And then just bring the leg back up. You can move your foot back and forth a couple of times if you want, but keep your ankle crossed. Flex the right ankle. Lean out over your left leg again. Maybe you feel this in the right hip, maybe not. And then we're going to keep the left leg straight, foot dorsiflexed, and let the right foot slide all the way across till the entire sole of your right foot is touching the ground. Remember, you're pressing through the big toe side as much as you are the little toe side, and then we're going to twist to the right. So you can either hug the right knee or bring the left arm outside of it. Your left leg should stay straight with the foot flexed. Your right foot should be firmly grounded, the entire sole of the right foot. And then go ahead and unwind from that. Wiggle your toes, wiggle your legs. Good. And then from here, we're going to bring the soles of the feet together. So usually I have you put your hands behind you. Today we're going to play a little differently. As always, be mindful of knee issues if you need to. So I want you to put 4 fingers of each hand on top of each foot, and your thumb will come just underneath the ball of each foot. Lift your chest, press the knees out and down, and only as much as you comfortably can. You're going to rotate the soles of the feet up towards the ceiling. In other words, you're opening your feet up like you're opening the pages of a book. Take one more breath here. By the way, this is the beginning of a yoga pose that has you put the soles of both feet on your stomach. We won't do that today, but just so that you know why you're doing what you're doing. This is actually good for stretching the outer part of your calf. Release. Go ahead and slide your legs a little bit out in front of you. Slide your hands down to the feet again. Doesn't matter where you're grabbing. Just kind of nestle your rib cage down for a moment. Let the low back get a little bit of love in this moment before we lie on our backs. Take one more breath here. And then come on up, you can extend your legs, give them a good wiggle. Kind of recommend you wiggle wrists and feet. Just get some happy blood flow going. Make sure that your strap is within reach, and then go ahead and roll onto your back. Hug your knees in, and let's rock side to side. So the first thing we're going to do is loop the right foot. And again, try and get it kind of on the ball of the foot. Doesn't have to be perfect, but closer to the ball of the foot than the heel, if that makes sense. Left leg is going to completely extend out. Now, it doesn't matter where your foot is pointing. It might be pointing, if you're super flexible, your foot might be pointing at the wall behind your head. If you're a little tighter, your foot might be pointing at the wall down towards your feet. It doesn't matter, but your right leg must be straight. So the first thing I want you to do is very strongly push through the back of your right knee. It's very important. And then simply dorsiflex your right foot and gently pull straight down towards the ground with your strap. What you're doing, obviously, is helping dorsiflex the foot. You should feel this in your right calf as well as your right hamstring. So just be mindful. It's not a complex pose, but you have to be very attentive to detail. You must have a straight right knee. You must flex the foot and apply some pressure. Take one more breath here. Now, just go ahead and point the foot. You're going to feel your calf tighten. You should be giving it a little bit of resistance, right? And then one more time, flex the foot and pull. So you're actually pulling straight down towards the ground. And then you can release your strap. I want you to just do a few ankle circles in the air. Go both ways. And then hug your right knee in. Give it a good squeeze. From here, we're just going to transition into an easy twist. Open your right arm out to the right and twist yourself over to the left. If you need to make it gentler on the back, bend both knees. And you might notice as you're here, just enjoying your reclined twist, you might notice that your right foot and lower leg are feeling pretty alive. They're relaxed right now, but you should feel that there's some blood flow, some energy, all kinds of good stuff happening. On your next inhale, come on back up. And as you exhale, just hug your right knee in. Then you can put your right foot flat. Let's go ahead and grab the strap again. So here we go. We're looping the left foot, ideally closer to the ball of the foot than the heel. You might even be able to get it on the ball of the foot once you get your left foot looped. Extend your right leg all the way out. And let's make sure we set up for success. So the first thing you need to do is make sure your left leg is straight. Remember, it doesn't matter what it's pointing at. It doesn't have to point at the ceiling. It might point at one of the walls. That's fine. But it needs to be very straight. And then the toes and the ankle should be dorsiflexed. So once you get that set where your leg is perfectly straight, you're pushing through the back of the knee, you're flexing the ankle and toes, then you gently pull with your strap. Like when I say pull, it's not like you're pulling your leg towards you. You're pulling your foot towards the ground. You're pulling straight down. So it's a vertical pressure, right? If you're feeling it a lot in your left calf as well as your hamstring, then you're doing a great job. Remember, you got to keep that left knee straight and you want to apply some pressure. Now we're just going to point the foot. So you're pressing into the strap with the ball of the foot, but you're still providing resistance. When you do this, you feel your calf tighten and your shin stretch, and then we pull one more time. Dorsiflexion, pulling the foot towards us, not the entire leg, just the foot. So it's vertical pressure. And then release your strap, hug your left knee in. Good squeeze. And we're going to twist to the right and allow the left arm to open out to the left. Head turns to the left. Remember, if you need to bend both knees, that's certainly okay to do. Notice that your left foot now feels warm or tingly or alive or awake. Just notice that increase in blood flow, increase in prana. On your next inhale, come on up, hug your left knee in. Bring your right knee up to meet it, rock side to side. And then go ahead and reach down and grab your feet and let's do a little happy baby. So as you're hanging onto your feet, notice how your feet feel. You might even want to push on your toes and the tops of the feet a little bit, see what feels good. Play around with dorsiflexion and plantar flexion, which basically means pointing and flexing the foot. Wiggle around, see how your hips are doing, your hamstrings, your calves, your shins. Just move a little bit. And then when you feel ready, go ahead and place your feet on the mat. And I want you to just pause for a moment, get your big toes to touch. Spread all of your toes out. And just take a moment with your feet flat on the mat, connecting big toe side and little toe side of the feet. Nice and grounded. Lift all 10 toes. Plant them back down. And then allow the soles of the feet to touch each other. Let your knees drop open. Take a deep breath in and press your low back into the mat, just in case your low back needs a little bit of love today. On your next exhale, release it. And then one more time, inhale, flatten your back. And as you exhale, release and begin to extend your legs. Separate your feet. Make sure your hands are palms up today. And then the first thing I want you to do is kind of like we do at the end of Shavasana. I want you to take a deep breath in, spread your fingers and toes, and then exhale and relax them. And make sure they stay relaxed. Make sure the rest of your body is relaxed, your jaw, your spine. Close your eyes and just allow your body to settle into the earth. So really give your body permission to relax. Just let it go. Let your breath do its own thing. Your body knows how to breathe in a way that's always appropriate. So let your body take over. Let your thoughts recede into the background. And just begin to bring awareness to your hands and feet. So aside from the fact that our feet and our legs are what get us around, right? That's how we ambulate, it's how we walk. They're also what connects us literally to this planet that we live on. So our feet literally connect us to the earth. Our hands are how we connect with our external environment and each other. Touch, right? We touch things. This is how we connect. So these extremities that we've worked with today, these outer edges, are literally the points that we use to connect with our external world, our external environment. So for the next few moments, I would love for you to just keep your awareness in your hands and feet. Just be keenly aware of the sensations in your extremities. Begin to allow your awareness to spread throughout the rest of your body. Begin to deepen your breath. Begin to move your fingers and toes. When you're ready, take that deeper breath in and yet again spread those fingers and toes. And as you exhale, relax them. Deeper breath in, stretch through arms and legs. And exhale and relax. Hug your knees into your chest if that feels good. If you prefer, you can just bend the knees and have your feet on the floor. When you're ready, roll to your right side and then press yourself up into sitting. So we all know that our core is incredibly important. You're only as strong as your core is. We always say the core has to be strong for these extremities to work well, but we forget these extremities are what gets this core around and does all of the things that it needs to do. So we really, truly are fully integrated between the midline part of our body and the distal parts or the extremities. And it's always nice to remember that these are our most important connection points with the outside world. So human touch is incredibly important. We thrive on it, we need it. Babies who are not touched when they're born don't often survive. We need human touch. And so it's really nice to bring our attention to these areas from an energetic standpoint. We also have minor energy centers, chakras, in the palms of our hands and in the soles of our feet. So even just by paying attention to them, like you did in Shavasana, you increase the energy in those areas. So you can increase your connection. So we're going to go ahead and continue to use the fingers for our breath work today. You've all done this segmented breath work with me before, Viloma Pranayama, but I want you to be very mindful of the finger positions today. So we'll be snipping it in 4 sniffs through the nose, 1 long, slow exhale through the mouth. When you touch each of the fingertips to each segment of the sniff, I'd like you to use about 2 pounds of pressure. So you're not squeezing them really tightly, but you're not just barely brushing them. There is an intentional connection between the thumbs and the fingertips. And then when we exhale, that slow controlled exhale, we're going to spread the palms of the hands and the fingers nice and wide. Okay, so palms are resting up on knees or thighs. Let's take 1 long, slow inhale through the nose. A slow controlled exhale through the mouth. Breathe in 4 sniffs. Exhale through the mouth, spread the palms. Breathe in. Exhale. Breathe in. Spread the palms, exhale. Last one. And exhale. Bring the palms of your hands together, feeling the connection between the palms of your hands, each knuckle of each finger, feel that connection. This is also how you connect to yourself. Just take a moment in gratitude that we have these extremities, that our feet can touch the ground, that our hands can reach out and touch each other, ourselves, and this beautiful world around us. Take 1 more deep breath in through your nose. Big happy sigh. Palms to the forehead, just reminding us to be present, to pay attention. Palms to the lips, reminding us to speak our truth. And palms together at our hearts, reminding us to keep our hearts open, to always come from a place of kindness, compassion, and unconditional love. Thank you so much for joining me today. Namaste.